I don't know. I guess to offer a different opinion on that, I've heard from admissions people that said they don't mind like MD hours because that gave you an opportunity to find out if you'd rather be a doctor than a PA. But I've had people tell me that like PA hours, you have to have enough PA shadowing hours because that's the profession you're going into. So I've been told
I think
that
it varies
as well.
on the program though.
And they want to know that you know what a PA does, and
Right.
that's actually what you want to do.
That's
So-
what I was told, actually, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I called at San Antonio and they were saying, well, you want to do PA, don't you? So shadow PAs. I'm like, but I'm shadow MDs are like.
No, they want, they
Yeah.
want that they want to know that you know what a PA does in the clinic, how they
Exactly.
relate to an MD and patients, and how your function is, so I agree with
I
Mark.
had shadowing hours from an MD and a PA.
Yeah, I did too.
I had more MD than PA, but I
Exactly.
shadowed both.
Exactly, yeah.
I shadowed nurses and NPs and PAs and so. But I did have trouble actually finding a PA to shadow for a while. I don't know where you live, but I was in Austin, and it was kind of hard to
It's a little bit, is it easy?
cold call people and stuff like that. No, it was difficult, but I just, I found out my friend's girlfriend was a nurse, and she worked at a hospital, and she knew a PA. So, like, if you know anyone in healthcare, especially, you know, if they have a PA in the office, then you can use those avenues as well.
So the Association of Family Practice PAs, afppa.org, I believe, they had a link a while ago to people who are willing to give you shadow hours. I'm trying to get on again and check. I didn't use that, but one of the people I shadowed was the past president of it, and he was talking about like, oh, we're trying to set up this link and everything because he knew that it was hard to find shadow hours for PA students. So I would check that, afppa.org. And also, like,
Yeah.
I had, I wanted to get into UT San Antonio. That was actually when I started applying the first time. And so I had written to one of the vice presidents of student affairs or something like that and was like, hey, I'm trying to get in. I've been trying to contact someone there and they've been hard to get a hold of. And she said, oh, I'm here this Saturday doing some paperwork if you want to stop by. So we had like an hour and a half conversation. Just she wanted to know about me. She looked at my application. She's like, oh, that looks good, you know, and I think you should do fine. And just on the whim, I happened to be living there for the summer. And I was like, do you know any PAs that wouldn't mind, you know, letting me shadow? And she gave me like 2 or 3 names and their emails. And I just started sending out emails. And if they couldn't let me, they're like, oh, but I have some friends that might. So just through those connections, that's how I kind of got the connection. So that was about it.
And I mean, I know it's hard right now to think of questions because it's like, oh, they're here, I need to ask them now. But all of our emails are on the back of that, of the program. So if at any point you think of a question, you're more than welcome to email and ask us.
That's what I was gonna say.
Mine knows that. I'll give it to you.
But
Yeah.
Jill's will be after July.
We'll
Her
be-
name will be up there.
Yeah, so if you have any specific program questions or anything that you didn't want to ask here, feel free to email us. We are busy people, obviously, but we will get to you
And
as
the
soon as we can.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
The San Antonio, her email address is on the back of that too. She wasn't able, she's
Yeah, all the
busy doing
school
something
reps.
else.
We got a couple more minutes if you have
Yeah.
any more questions.
I have a question. One of the things it's been talked about a couple times in this conference is just like, you know, TAPA's role in, you know, making legislature happen, helping the profession. What are some things that you guys hope to either, you know, impact the role, like what a PA does, or impact the profession in some way once y'all graduate, or as students, I guess?
As students, you can participate a lot in legislatives with the Legislative Action Committee or the Political Action Committee as a student. You don't have to wait until you graduate as a PA. For example, there were several of us, including Nathan and Sarah Pierce, another one. There were several students that went with TAPA to the 82nd legislative session in Austin. And TAPA was advocating 3 different bills. One about letting PAs write prescriptions for the parking placards, because usually before that was only done in certain counties.
Had to be like population in the county of over 150,000.
Right.
Or under.
Right. And then being able to prescribe Schedule II drugs, which did not get passed, and then having minority ownership with physicians among clinics. So there were a lot of students that went with TAPA to Austin to go and advocate for these bills and actually talk to senators and representatives. And so those students helped and contributed to that, and two of those bills got passed. So because of TAPA, because of all that work that they did, now there's a chance for us to be minority partners with physicians. And I mean, they have more things in the works for the next legislative session coming up. And it's all stuff that you guys can all participate in by being involved in PAC and LAC and things of that nature. I don't know if that helps answer.
Yeah.
And I have PAC applications if you want one.
Nice. Nice transition.
I think I'm pretty excited about the 49% ownership. That's something I would like to do. And I hope that maybe, I guess the realities of owning a clinic is probably, I don't understand the realities truly, but once I get out there, if that's something I decide to do, I think I would like to see us, be able to be 50% owners or majority owners, because that's my personality. I want to kind of be in charge. But I don't. So I know that Todd had just spoken about that also. Now, again, with the reality of that might be, maybe I'll change my mind and be like, oh, I'm good to, being working at a clinic, with a doctor. So, but.
And I mean, someday it might be the chance that the PAs are able to get minority ownership. For right now, it's just, baby steps. So for right now, it's 49%. Maybe sometime in the future, that'll be part of TAPA's legislative session, objectives agenda. So, I mean, that's all stuff that you guys, as you become PA students, everything, you can work with them to work towards that. So you can be as involved as you want to be, whether you're a student or not, or PA.
How about you, Amanda, the PA on the panel?
What was the original question? What we want to see
What,
with TAPA?
well, what would you want to help add to the profession, either through TAPA or in your own practice, or what kind of ways do you want to help shape and develop the profession? Because it's something that's still like in the process of growing. And
I think MD education would probably be mine. Where I went to school, we had a lot of classes with MDs or medical students, and we had a free clinic that we both worked at. So they saw what our strengths with clinic care and how we evolved. We were already as second years, and then we would hit them up for book or science education because they were more educated than we were. So I was spoiled in that nature. So when I got out, finding MDs that had never worked with PAs before and who thought we were, more like medical assistants was very disheartening to me. So I think that would be my goal, just trying to reel them in and educate them on how capable we are in the clinic or ER in my case.
I think getting the name out of the profession as a whole, I still get asked like, well, what are you going to do as a PA? Like, I'm like.
And when are you going to medical school?
And then the second, exactly.
Yeah.
I get that question sometimes.
I get that a lot.
And but the one I love is when I bring up like, do you know MPs? Oh yeah, I go to visit an MP. I'm like, we do the same thing, pretty much, except we can be a little bit more specialized in some things. But yeah, so just getting people to know like, hey, we're a mid-level. We can work in surgeries. We can work in oncology. All the fields that pretty much medicine can do. We're part of that, and I'd like to see that.